You are standing in a room full of people. Someone asks you a simple question, and before you answer, you pause. Not because you don't know the answer, but because you are scanning their face for signs. Is this a trap? Will they judge what I say? That pause is not overthinking. It is a survival response you learned a long time ago. When every answer you gave was met with disappointment. When every choice you made was quietly corrected. When nothing you did was ever quite enough. You did not just hear those words growing up. You absorbed them into how you see yourself. The perfectionism that never lets you rest. The self-doubt that follows every decision you make. The way you apologize before anyone asks you to. These are not personality flaws. They are adaptations your mind created to survive. And they make complete sense. Here is what happens inside a child who is constantly criticized. Their brain begins to predict rejection before it arrives. Every time you reached for approval and received criticism instead, your brain registered something permanent. Effort does not equal acceptance. Achievement does not equal love. Approval is conditional, and it can be taken away at any moment. This became a pattern so deeply learned it followed you into adulthood. Even now, when someone praises you, part of you waits for the but. When someone says you did well, you scan for what you missed. When someone loves you, you quietly wonder when you will disappoint them. That is not paranoia. That is what your brain learned to do to protect you. And here is where it becomes complicated. Criticism does not make you give up. It makes you try harder. Because somewhere inside, you believe that if you can just be perfect, the criticism will finally stop. If you can just get it right, they will finally be satisfied. So you become someone who cannot rest. Not because you love what you are achieving, but because you are afraid of what happens if you stop. There is a difference between reaching for something because you want it, and running from something because you fear it. One feels like momentum, the other feels like exhaustion you cannot explain, and you have been running for a very long time. But here is the part that rarely gets said. Eventually, you stop needing them to criticize you, because their voice moved inside your own mind. It lives there now, quiet and constant, telling you that you are not good enough, telling you that you are doing it wrong, telling you to try harder, be better, do more. That voice does not sound like you. It sounds like whoever criticized you growing up. And the cruel thing is, you think it is helping you. You think it is keeping you sharp, keeping you from becoming someone who stops trying. But it is not helping you. It is keeping you afraid. There is a difference between being motivated and being quietly terrorized by your own thoughts. If this is resonating, stay with it. There is more beneath the surface. You also became extraordinarily good at reading people. You sense when someone's mood shifts before they say a word. You notice a change in tone that others miss completely. You read a short message 3 times looking for hidden meaning. This did not happen by accident. This is what develops in a child who needed to predict criticism before it arrived, so they could brace for it, or disappear before it came. That alertness kept you safe as a child, but it exhausts you now, because you cannot fully relax in a room with other people. You are monitoring, scanning, bracing, even when there is nothing coming. And notice how often you say sorry. You apologize for asking a question that needed asking. You apologize for taking up space that was yours to take. You apologize before anyone tells you that you did something wrong. Because you learned early, apologizing first softens the blow. It says quietly, "Please don't hurt me, I already know I'm wrong." But every time you apologize for something that required no apology, you tell yourself again that your existence is something to be sorry for. You also struggle to trust your own judgment. Someone asks your opinion and you freeze before answering. Not because you have no opinion, but because you are not sure if it is the right one. You ask others what they think before you commit to a decision. You replay choices long after they are made. Because when you were young, every decision you made was corrected. Your brain learned that your judgment cannot be trusted. So now even small decisions carry the weight of something much larger. What to say in a meeting, how to respond to a message, whether your instinct is right or wrong. That weight is not about the decision in front of you. It is about every time your judgment was dismissed as a child. And here is something that might feel uncomfortably familiar. You achieve something real, something you genuinely worked for. And the moment it happens, instead of feeling proud, you feel like you tricked everyone, like they do not know the real you. Like any moment now, someone will look closer and realize you are not as capable as they thought. So you wait for the moment they find out. You downplay what you did so they do not expect it again. You call it luck before anyone else can call it undeserved. This is not humility. This is what happens when a child achieves something. And the response is always about what they could have done better. When you succeeded and heard, it wasn't that impressive. When you were proud and heard, you could have done more. Your brain learned that success is fragile, that it can be taken away with one sentence. So instead of standing in your achievement, you shrink from it first, before anyone else can shrink you. And now you carry every achievement lightly, not because you don't care, but because holding it fully feels too dangerous. That is not a character flaw. That is your mind doing what it learned to do. Built by a child who learned that pride was always temporary, and criticism was always waiting on the other side of it. Here is the hidden truth beneath all of this. None of these patterns mean you are broken. They mean you are adapted. Your mind did exactly what it was supposed to do. It learned from its environment. It built strategies to survive where love felt conditional, and criticism felt constant and unpredictable. Those strategies worked. They protected you then. But what protects a child does not always serve an adult. And carrying those strategies now into your relationships, your work, your quiet moments alone, is like wearing armor in a room where the war already ended. The weight is real, but the battle is not. You grew up learning, in ways spoken and unspoken, that you had to earn your place, that rest was laziness, that vulnerability was weakness, that you were only as valuable as your last effort, and you believed it, because you were a child, and children believe what the people around them teach them, but it was not the truth about you. It was their limitation, handed to you as though it were a fact about who you are. And there is one more thing that stays with you. You struggle to let people see you, fully. Someone asks how you are really doing, and you say fine, even when nothing feels fine, even with people you trust completely. Because somewhere along the way you learned that showing how you feel gives someone something to use against you. That opening up leads to judgment. That vulnerability is just another word for exposed. So you share facts, not feelings. You talk about what you are doing, not how you are carrying it, and people think they know you. But they only know the version of you that felt safe enough to show. The real you learned to stay hidden. Not because you do not want connection, but because connection felt like something you had to earn, and that is exhausting to carry alone. You are not what the criticism said you were. You are what survived it. And the fact that you are still here, still trying, still questioning, still looking for understanding, that is not weakness. That is the quietest kind of strength there is. If this reached something in you, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe. There is more beneath the surface.